Disclaimer: the information shared on this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. We are not licensed therapists, counselors, or medical professionals, and the content shared here should not be taken as mental health, medical, legal, or financial advice. Always consult with a qualified professional regarding any mental health, emotional, or personal development issues you may be facing. Listening to this podcast does not create a professional relationship. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not represent any official organizations or affiliations. While we aim to offer support and encouragement, your personal growth journey is your own, and you are responsible for any decisions or actions you take based on the content of this podcast. Listener discretion is advised for sensitive topics. Thank you for joining us, and remember you're not alone on this journey.
Universe of you.
Welcome to Season 3!
Heal and hustle.
Because you shouldn't have to choose between peace and progress.
Welcome back to another episode. And this week we're talking about mental health. I understand that this is a very important topic and a very talked about topic as well in the recent years. But with that also comes a lot of misinformation. And today we're here to give you accurate facts.
Yes. So we have two guest speakers with us. We have Dr. Heemanshu and Dr. Manjari. So Dr. Heemanshu is the founder of Belief Shaping Therapy here in Dubai and Shaping Therapy in India. We also have Dr. Manjari, who is the co-founder and the clinical psychologist in Dubai.
So hi everyone, just a background thing that I've done my bachelor's from Mumbai and I've done my master's from Australia, and last 18 years I have been in this field of mental health. We run a chain of therapy centers in India which looks after children with autism, ADHD, learning disability, cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, and obviously we do the result oriented occupational speech and ABA therapies for them.
Hi, I'm Dr. Manjari. I hold a double master's in psychology and an honorary doctorate in psychology. I also hold a master's degree in Indian classical dance, Bharatanatyam. Thank you. And my two passions of psychology and Bharatanatyam, the amalgamation of both basically results in interaction of the body and the mind. And that's basically exactly what we are talking about, is mental health, where the body and the mind interact.
Absolutely.
So true. Yeah, so we have spoken about hustling the previous episode, and right now it's time to talk about healing mentally.
Absolutely. I think, again, as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of miscommunication and false information regarding mental health, and there's so many myths out there, and which also is causing people to self-diagnose.
Yes. Okay, so first and foremost, let's rewind a little and talk about mental health, whether it actually exists or does not exist.
Okay.
So we've given it a term of mental health, like we have physical pain. There is also something called as something is disturbing us. Okay, we've kind of forgotten the words of I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm upset. Okay, and we have jumped on to the words of I'm anxious, I'm depressed. So this bridge there's the huge gap between what you're actually feeling and what you're actually exhibiting, and coming out with these huge heavy terms. Mental health could be with an infant also. Okay, just born child, when they are crying and wanting for food. That does not mean they have depression and they are suffering from mental health. It's the basic survival instinct, that I need food, give me food, that's it. And when that need is satisfied, it's all okay, it's great. In the same way, as in how we grew up, we have different challenges coming our way. When they come in like a spider's web, we don't know how to sort it out. And that's when we feel very claustrophobic. We feel very chained, and we don't know how to sort it out one after the other. That's where you take help, and you come out and release each web as in how it goes.
Yeah, so I believe that mental health is a very overhyped word nowadays, and because of which the genuine cases of mental health are somewhere not been coming out, because those who don't suffer from mental health are very vocal about it, and those who are really suffering are at times not been able to express it out, and that's the reason they have been left out.
Like we just spoke about that, a person sitting having their coffee, smiling, laughing, you never know that they're going through depression.
Exactly.
Because they're not showing it, they're not expressing it.
And a lot of times this happens, I don't know if it happens with others, but happens with me. I tend to not share, because there was this one incident when somebody called somebody else an attention seeker when they were just venting, and then that kind of like stuck with me.
Yes.
And then now you have difficulty sharing because you don't want to come off as an attention seeker even when you truly need help. So the first thing we're going to do is debunk these myths. So I think let's start off with something very, very simple. People always keep saying, oh, no big deal, just manifest your way out of it.
Or if you're just sad, go get some sun. It's all gonna be fine. You're
Take
just
a
simply
walk.
overthinking. It's not a big of a deal. Like, it's something serious that's happening, but then, they just ignore it.
So coming to the myths and the facts of mental health, yes, mental health does exist. Okay, it is real. It's just that it's not such a huge of a problem that cannot be solved. A person can solve anything to do with mental and health, on your own also. If it goes beyond a line, then you need to seek professional help. In between that, we have a family, we have our friends who we can, trust as confidants and then take it forward. Second is these people are not, they are not violent. Okay, they just don't go berserk all of a sudden. There are stages to mental health. Okay, and if addressed at the same time or the right time and arrested at the right time, it can get cured and solved and managed. So yes, mental health is real. It's just that we need to address it at the right time and give it the proper names which it deserves, and before it turns out to be a huge, like the volcano should not burst. It's as simple as that.
And on the very onset, I was just trying to share that don't use words like depression and anxiety so loosely. It takes lots of effort for anyone to even diagnose it and to come to the conclusion that a person is really depressed and to what level and what extent. So especially on the very onset, as I mentioned, people lamely use those words even at the drop of the hat. Even if you're you don't get food for like a couple of hours and you say I'm depressed, that's not the way how it should be used, because then you are genuinely undermining real depression, and that should not be the fact.
And to be honest, like if you're sitting with like a bunch of people and like, your friends, for example, friends group, you're sitting having lunch together and one of them just goes casually like, I'm feeling so depressed today, maybe one of them is actually suffering, and then they think like, oh, this is a very basic reason they're feeling depressed. Maybe I'm just overthinking and I think a lot. Maybe it's nothing that big for me.
You downplay yourself in a way.
Yes,
you just
so true.
ignore and you don't want to seek help because you think that, oh, even they're facing it, we can just talk it out. Chill.
So the real life scenario which happens is a couple of friends sitting together and talking about anything, and suddenly one says I'm feeling depressed. As you rightly mentioned, there would be someone who is really depressed, but the third person would say that, oh, you're not depressed, you are just trying to make it, you're just faking it, kind of a thing. That really undermines the real depression. So all those who are listening right now, my humble request to each one of you is that you cannot diagnose, like you could never diagnose that you have COVID just because you have cold and cough. In the same manner, you cannot just label yourself as depressed or anxious. You seek professional help, get it in writing, then you can take it forward. Till that time, you can be low, you can feel bad, you may not have a good mood, but that doesn't mean that you have genuine mental health issues.
Absolutely.
True, so true. Again, self-diagnosis.
Yes.
I believe, as you mentioned, that diagnosis in real also takes a very long time.
Absolutely.
But people nowadays just, ChatGPT especially. I'm feeling
God.
low, I don't
ChatGPT
feel
is-
like eating, and I think I'm depressed, and then
Yes.
chat will just support your answer. Or Google for that matter, or like any other AI tool. I've seen people do that in general. That's where like I could understand that this is a real problem with the generation right now.
So true.
What do you want to say about that?
Okay. First and foremost, thank you so much for addressing this issue. It's a huge issue, and it's kind of become a trend to self-diagnose because these diagnoses and assessments are so easily available right now. So one is that should stop. Second, to diagnose anyone with any kind of a mental disorder or any kind of an issue or a concern, it takes a huge amount of efforts. So whenever a client or a patient comes to us, there is a lot that goes behind diagnosis, which is the first one is the mental status examination, is what we call the MSEs. Okay, so we need to see someone physically to understand whether there are certain physical attributes concerning to the said problem. Second is the background history. ChatGPT doesn't know your family background. ChatGPT doesn't know your eating, sleeping disorders. Of course, you could tick on the the checklist, but that does not actually give your childhood history. It does not give your there are so many. There are developmental history, social history, school history, the way you dress up, everything, your likes, dislikes. It's a whole lot of how do I say, background checks before you actually turn to the diagnosis. Once I finish with that and I interact with the client or the patient, then I actually come to the formal assessment. Now these formal assessments that we are talking about are not available anywhere online, okay, because these are formal, standardized, validated, reliable assessments which have taken over the years to be actually come into practice, which are only available with licensed practitioners.
The actual tests.
The actual tests.
But they are available.
They are not available.
So the ones online are.
Yeah, the ones online are informal assessments. So please understand the difference between formal assessments and informal assessments. Formal assessments are not available anywhere online. Okay, even if in the soft copy format. These ones which are available are all informal assessments. Okay, and the results which are given to you are on a generalized statistics. Okay, a general statistics of geographical regions and your age and all of that, and then your report comes up. But for a formal assessment, we as psychologists have to pay a bomb to get hold of these assessments, and they are only available with authorized people.
Absolutely.
Right? And they are not, as I've said, they are not available easily. So all these assessments which are there will not give you the right results because they are not formal assessments. I hope this is very clear to everyone listening.
I do understand that, but as a person studying psychology, we had to conduct tests on a subject for our statistical class and our research classes.
Yes.
And we did have to do tests. So there was RSPM, that one, and then there was another one related to anxiety, and then another one for your self-esteem. But the thing is, those tests were then given to us in soft copies by our professors. And like we were allowed to take the papers home if there were any questionnaires remaining.
Absolutely.
So were those accurate ones, or do you think
those ones which you're talking about, maybe yourself, the anxiety, Beck's depression, anxiety, all of those are there online, but those are not used formally to diagnose someone with depression and anxiety. They are there, they are scales. Okay, these are tests, they are scales which are used, but they are not used for diagnosing someone with depression. There are a whole lot of other tests which are there, which are not easily available in the market.
So even to students it is
No. Especially with someone with bachelor's and all, definitely not, because you'll have still not reached that proficiency level, because as we were talking, it takes a lot of years to reach that level, and then you would get your hands, and these tests cost a lot. They go into thousands of drums and dollars, and they're not easily available. You need to produce your license, and then only then can you procure them.
So it comes through a formal channel.
Yes.
And that's the way how it is. And secondly, just to end it up on this note, that if someone goes through ChatGPT, there's a very fine line which says that ChatGPT is still evolving and it can make mistakes. Absolutely. I think people just don't read those things and they ignore it. And I think ChatGPT has become a new doctor nowadays, which is not a case. So yes, ChatGPT, AI, everything is wonderful. It genuinely has been helping humanity a lot, but it should not be misused.
Right. And with tests, as you mentioned, like a lot of people do this personality test online. They answer 50, 100 questions and they get something. What about those? Like, again, very time consuming, but are they accurate? Is that like also false? Semi-accurate? What's your take on that?
Yes, some of them, as I've rightly said, like something like MMPI and 16PF and all. Yes, they are easily available. Okay, but then there's scorings. Okay, which take a hell lot of time. I know as psychologist you would know it is not that easily available. Okay, and then the accurate results to it, it takes and we never, to be honest with you, any kind of diagnosis we don't do one test. There are multiple tests. For example, career counseling, we don't do an aptitude test only. We do a personality test and an interest inventory. Okay, to understand which kind of careers you should take. In the same way, if I have to diagnose someone with depression or anxiety, I would not take only one test. I would first, depending upon the background about the patient and the client, take multiple tests and then reach on to a conclusion.
So earlier back in then, no one had such a disorder, maybe like depression for that matter, or anxiety. And right now, the generation right now, if you tell your parents or your grandparents that, I'm facing anxiety, and you try to explain what anxiety is, and they're like, I face this every day. You're just overreacting. You're being dramatic. I went through this all my life. You can't go through this like for a few months.
Yeah, but I think there's nothing wrong in it. As we were discussing that the tenacity nowadays, or the ability to absorb stress has reduced. So what your grandparents would have faced before, nowadays if the generation of today is even faces like 1/4 of it, they try to create a hell out of it. So I think they all try to create a mountain out of a mole, and I don't think so. It's a fact. The parents are right that every single time you can't create a scenario where things are blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
So if anyone is listening right now, and if they mean to say that am I blowing things out of proportion and are my parents wrong, I would say the parents are right. Yes, it needs to be taken seriously, for the only reason being is that nowadays even the present generation don't have that kind of a wherewithal to absorb that kind of a stress, because of which they end up taking some kind of a wrong decisions which they should not. So ideally, maybe 30-40 years down the line, even if a parent would scream or scold or sometimes whack a child, after half an hour the child may also forget and the parent may also forget. But the mental health of today's generation, at times, not everyone, is so weak that they keep it onto themselves, and they want to go and indirectly share it in the social media, want to go and talk it out to their friends, which is a wrong approach. So whatever happens within the family should stay within the family, should not be blown out of proportion, and parents are not wrong. Otherwise, if we start considering our seniors to be wrong, then forget about the generation. The entire humanity will collapse.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
I would say with this, it's like initially when I was a teenager, I would definitely fight a lot with my parents. I was like a complete rebel. But then growing up now, I can very much see the sense that they were trying to tell me. It was maybe probably because my frontal lobe was not developed enough that I was listening to them. But then now I'm like, okay, what they say still makes sense. And even if now whatever they tell me and I do not agree with them or disagree with them, I still know at the back of my head, a few years down the line, it will make sense.
Exactly. There has to be a very open channel of communication between parents. Just because nowadays parents listen to the children and give them a listening ear, doesn't mean you take them for granted. And just because they're listening to you doesn't mean they're accepting everything what you are saying. But there is a very subtle way of nowadays saying no. Initially there was a no is a no and no questions asked. Nowadays going into discussions which are at times very, very irrelevant, it just doesn't solve any kind of a purpose. So the new generation should understand that if someone is listening to you, it doesn't mean that they are they are just going to accept what you say. They may be hearing you out and the pretext of listening and fooling you as well. So be very ready about not to be misjudged or misguided, and listen to your parents at times. So not only parents but any senior, even your elder sibling, at the end of the day, have got more experience about it. So it's always not about someone younger to you, but any elders who is going to give you some kind of an advice, at least introspect. And a golden word which I would say is that don't react but respond. So think over it, sit over it, sleep over it, dwell over it, and then come to your so-called conclusions. Don't override things and don't reach on to conclusions.
This actually reminds me of this whole myth that said never sleep with your partner angry, or always sort the issue out before you sleep. I always thought that that's such a, sorry to say it like that, but a very stupid advice, because the moment I sleep with the issue, even if I'm sleeping angry or whatever, I have so much more clarity the next day. But to whoever I say this, okay, even if you sleep angry with somebody, it will yield better results than staying up and fighting.
I may not agree. I have a different perspective. I always feel that whatever happens in a day possibly should be sorted out. This is not a war between two countries which needs to have an immediate solution, but at least between partners, between friends. So you cannot choose your parents, but you can always choose your partner. So at least those whom you have chosen, you make it a point that you have chosen because you believe that they understand you. So yes, you can sort out things later as well, but don't slip with that kind of a grudge. Try to finish off the discussion. I again and again say that communication makes a big difference. One person having that kind of an attitude where a person goes into the shell and then just don't want to talk and taking ages to come out of it, that what really spoils many of the relationships. Because when there is no open communication and you just want to have your ego and prove who is right and who is wrong, things just spiral out of nowhere, and it just becomes so big that at times then you are not able to control it.
Yes.
Try to control it as early as possible. There is nothing wrong to say sorry. In fact, one who is submissive in the relationship is, from my experience, is the most powerful person.
Absolutely.
Submissive doesn't mean that you have to take someone's scolding or someone's physical abuse or hitting from someone. Submissive means that right now the time is more important than this issue. If I sort this issue, I can do many greater things in life, rather than only solving this particular issue, which is completely nonsense at times and which is completely unwarranted.
True.
5 days down the line, partners ask, do you even know what we were fighting on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And just imagine such a waste of time and energy. So being submissive at times is a very, very powerful thing. It comes with an experience. Otherwise, you always feel that being aggressive and being a partner who is at the top of everything is powerful. My experience have now taught me that giving up on stupid issues makes more sense than talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
And
Cut the crap.
Even like when you say sorry to someone, be it like your friend, your parents, colleagues, anyone, it doesn't make you a small person.
It doesn't belittle you at all. Sorry is a very
humble.
powerful term. Sorry is one way of negotiating with them and saying, if sorry makes you feel good, just
take
go
it,
for
do
it,
it,
take
yeah.
it, but finish this off, because we have much more bigger things in life, and
Absolutely.
those stupid people will fall for your sorry as well at times.
Yes.
So, which is a good thing. They are narcissists or they may be thinking other way around, but just finish it off.
Yeah.
I love that point so much.
That actually brings us to social media, and because of all of it, because of so much of our lives and so much of everyone's life available on social media, it is very natural for people to compare
Yeah.
and then feel left out, feel
Exactly.
burdened, feel
Or
like
they are living a better life than I am.
Grass is greener on the other side.
yeah, every single time, be it in university, be it, oh, they're working, I'm still studying,
Oh, yeah.
they're in this country, in this university, and I'm here.
And we think that we're underprivileged and they're like highly privileged
Oh.
because they're going for
Yes.
a better vacation than we are doing.
Yes, oh my god, I deactivated my Instagram like recently because I could not, with so many people all around the world vacationing in this island, in that island, and I'm here working.
I didn't even care. I was just like, I'm enjoying too. But it was bothering.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about social media as well, about how that also, silently affects your mental health. And it's a slap on the face every day.
It is.
Yes.
So one very simple technique how I don't get bothered by social media is because I don't seek validation from anyone. I know exactly what I do and I know what kind of value I'm creating in whichever way, whether it's personal, whether it's professional. The day you start seeking validations and your life starts depending upon the amount of likes and the comments which comes to you, then social media sucks.
Yeah.
Till that time, social media is a fabulous platform to stay connected, but understand that as you rightly mentioned, someone vacationing in an island, that's a momentary part. That's
Yeah.
not his or her entire life.
It's a highlight
You
reel.
need exactly, it's a highlight reel. Don't be so weak in just getting one vacationing photos of your friend, putting you into the dilemma that are you leading a perfect life. Again, understand there is no perfect life, there is no perfect relationship, there is no perfect place to work, there is no perfect planet to exist. Everything we have to keep adjusting and make the most out of it in the positive manner. So to all those who are listening, if I have to make it very short and crisp, the day you stop getting yourself burdened by the validation of people, the day you stop it, I think you would enjoy social media. If you post everything only with the intention of getting likes or getting popular, things will not work out, because every day is not a Sunday and you have to understand that.
It's like if once you stop seeking validation, you actually start living.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
You are there to share, not to get a comment. So you just want to you don't want to call 50 people and say, hey, listen, you know what, like for example, you as a student, you have passed out your university and you have got fabulous grades. You don't have time to call 100 people and say I have passed out. So you just put a post. Someone would see it today, someone would see it 15 days down the line, but at least you have put it out in public.
Yeah.
Social media has to share. It's all about sharing information. It's not about making someone feel jealous about you.
Absolutely.
So don't get influenced by so-called fake influencers, and that's it.
My take on the social media thing is, whoever, all the listeners who are listening to us, tell me one reel, one post, one story which actually tells you about that person's troubles. Okay, you don't see
Absolutely.
anyone putting negative, anyone saying, oh, this is my family life, this is my financial crisis I'm going through, these are the backstabs I've had, these are the breakups and breakups could again be glamorized and put up, but they would not actually show the negativity, the pain, the problems that you're going through in life. Okay, it only shows the good part which you would want to put up, and those are very, very rare. Okay, and you would then want to build up and then it's like, you know, self gratification that, okay, even if I'm having a coffee, it could be some, you know, nice for someone who's watching it. I could just click a picture of having coffee in Starbucks and put it up. What are you gaining out of that? Nothing. Okay, so when you're really looking at social media, look from that angle, and you would not want to watch reels which are sad. You would want to watch reels which are making you laugh and, you know, entertaining and all. So you're looking at social media for entertainment. My genuine advice is, do not become products of social media.
Absolutely.
You guys are becoming products, and those people who are making money out of you
Yes.
are actually treating you as a product. So kindly do not become products of social media.
And a very important thing, don't get into this trap of mindless scrolling.
Oh,
You
Yes.
end up, scrolling like 100 reels. After maybe half an hour that you have spent time, which you could have easily spent with yourself and otherwise with your family or with anyone, you don't even remember what was the first or the second reel that you have watched.
Yeah.
So mindless scrolling is all about eating up on your time, which will not make any sense. People have been spending hours and hours every day before sleeping. So that's not the way how it should work. And especially to all those who are listening, I would say that you should have a curfew. 1 hour before sleeping, social media, no matter what, you would get the news next day. It's not going to go out any which ways. Please put your mental health, your family life on a priority and stop. That it takes a courage. Only weak people are the ones who would go on to the social media till the last moment where they have to go to sleep. People who are smart enough, people who have understood that this is a crap, no matter what, they would shut down. And I know I can so confidently speak about this because I practice what I preach. 1 hour before all my apps are off, my mobile is off. Even if my best friend will tell me, give me your mobile, I will say, I will not give you my mobile. I'm not going to touch my mobile now. For next 1 hour before sleeping, I will not touch it. And that's the way you need to be courageous. But once you get into that habit and you see the positive, things coming out of it, you would love it. Forget about the night. Even in the morning, once you get up, at least for first half an hour, don't touch your phone. Spend time with yourself and then look at the world outside.
Same. This is what we do as well. I do not touch my phone after getting up for an entire hour and a half.
Yes.
Yeah. But like then again, if you're saying that 1 hour before we sleep, we keep our phones away, what do you think we can do to improve our mental health in that 1 hour? Morning, night?
Internal reflections. Talk to yourself.
What happened in the entire
Forget
day.
forget about all these big terms like, gratitude writing and,
Journaling
and all. Just reflect on the entire day of yourself. What good things have happened. So I personally believe there is nothing which bad happens. There is either you learn or you succeed.
Right.
That's a very simple thing.
No failures.
There are no failures. You are always learning because every single so-called failure is one step towards the success.
True.
And we have been listening to all these things, but start manifesting it and start understanding that whatever goes wrong in a day is only what would go right the next day. It is as simple as that. So either you can be with your dog, with your cat, with your family, and if you don't have anyone, just internally reflect. And if you want to watch something, watch it on a big screen, but watch something which is then, whether it makes you happy. It should not make you feel jealous. Anything.
Absolutely.
It should not, your brain should not start ticking when you're saying something which will, subconsciously the mind will run in your mind. So what you can do 1 hour prior is spend time with yourself. That's all about it.
So journaling is something you wouldn't recommend?
No, it
No,
is.
no,
If
no.
someone, if it
Absolutely,
makes you
yes.
happy, do that.
Yeah.
If anything which makes you happy, if
So-
you can write it down.
Uh-huh.
And if you are a person who wants to write down things, journaling, yes, it's a fabulous thing to do.
I'm
Please do it.
I'll just go a little back. As I said, mental health, we've coined this so-called thing. Don't you think our grandfathers wrote down? I have, diaries of my parents and my
Oh, yeah.
grandparents actually writing down their expenses of every
Yeah,
single day.
same.
Okay, they could write down some important event that happened that day, and they have like 2081 and 82, and every year they maintained a diary. That they didn't call it journaling. It was just that understanding what happened in the entire day.
Like
Yeah.
a dear diary.
Exactly. Today we are just writing down our feelings down. It's as simple as that, because we just want to put it down from our head onto a paper.
Yeah.
Journaling is great because it comes out of your system.
Yes.
If you start brooding over it and thinking over it and overthinking over it, then that is what is bad. You need to put it out on the paper and forget,
And
close
say,
it, put it
try
back.
to write as much as positive things. Journaling
Yes.
is not about bitching about anyone. It's not about how
Negative,
someone
yeah.
made me feel low. You can, in fact, do a journaling other way around, where if you think that someone made you feel low, you write it down saying that what is my stance on this and how I will try to, change it and make myself, not so vulnerable about it. Rather than writing about someone else all the time saying this person has done this to me and that to me and because of him or her my life is ruined. Write down what you can possibly take as a solution.
Yeah.
That will give you more confidence to deal with life, because after journaling you have to sleep and wake up the next day and face the life.
Yeah.
So journaling, as far as is going to give you strength, it's good.
So we write down our positive thoughts on the journal or anywhere we like. But what about the negative ones then? I mean,
You write down the negative things and try to
Change
find a
it.
solution to
Solution
it.
to it, yes.
Write down whatever possible solutions with your intellect, with your experience. How can you fight this out and come over it? That's what. So in case if you have not got a good grade in that particular day, don't just write down, yes, that I did not meet my expectation, but what can I possibly do to come out of it and get a better grade, or succeed in any kind of a relationship. That's what I think journaling should be. It's all about gratitude. It's all about positive affirmations, rather than writing someone bad about someone. It's I don't think so. It's going to vent out, or just by writing down things are going to be out of your system. So that's what my take is.
Moving on, what if one of your friends is in a relatively lower state? I wouldn't label it or anything, but just low at the moment or for a couple of days, let's say. How do you, as a friend, support the person without necessarily putting yourself down or, burdening yourself? How do you help the person in a healthy manner?
Just listen to them. At times people don't want anyone to give them judgments, or people don't want to pass any solutions. First thing how it starts, and this is what even I have learned in my life, that you need a friend who will just listen to you.
Yes.
Without having any kind of a bias, without having any kind of a prejudice towards you, without forming any kind of a solutions for you and thinking that this is only the right way. Possibly, yes, you also need a friend who can then give you a solution, because ultimately, just getting people to listen to you is not going to make sense, because that is only going to make you feel light. But that's not possibly going to help you to fight it out kind of a thing. Real friend will always try to give you a solution and not label you. So if you have any of those friends, and why? Because today you may be listening to someone. A time would come when you would want someone to listen to you.
Yes.
So it's not that the person who is listening is always superior, and a person who is narrating his or her weak side is always at the receiving end. That's not the way how it works.
it has to be both ways. With
It has to be
friends,
both ways,
yes.
partners, anyone.
Also, I think that you have to respect each other's. So for example, if I am feeling low, hypothetical situation, and I would require my space for some time, okay? If someone is coming in, what happened, tell me, and I'm there, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
So, but I have to, as Dr. Heemanshu said, let's form the basic of every relationship, and a friendship is also a relationship. So the base is, I'm there for you. You let me know when I need you. I will come for you. But I'm going to give you only that much time. Then I will invade your privacy time, because I want to be there for you. So you could take your space, calm down, go out, be on your own, think, introspect, whatever. But then I would want you to come, and I would want to sit around with you and hear you out. So we have to understand each other's space, respect each other's personalities, and then take it forward.
And do it as early as possible.
Yes.
Don't linger
Yes,
over it.
yes.
Don't sleep over it. as you know, to our previous question, if it happens in a day, try to solve
Finish
it
it
before
off,
the end of
yeah.
the day. If it happens in the night, try to finish it off as early as possible.
Yeah. And also, if in this situation, you realize that okay, maybe this is crossing.
Like it's going out of hands.
Yeah.
They need professional help.
Yes.
Yeah. How do we gently push them
Yeah.
towards seeking professional help? Because a lot of the times, people
Get
I would-
offended also.
offended, scared, whatever.
Make
the
them
reason
understand
is.
that seeking a professional help is not a taboo. It's not a stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through it. In fact, only the people who have courage will seek professional help. Weak people will not seek professional help. Forget about going to a counseling psychologist. Even at times, if we have some kind of a physical ailment, we don't go and to a doctor because we believe that something bigger may come out of it.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah,
always
yeah,
scared out
yeah.
of it. So, in fact, the right way of telling a person is that you're strong enough that at least you're thinking
Thinking of doing
of going to a coach. And I would always relate that to look at you can give an example of all the great be it cricketers or be it the footballers or anyone who's in sports or even in the business. People need coaching. People need someone who can mentor them at times. So even the best player in the world will still have a coach.
Yes.
That doesn't mean a person is weak. In fact, a player is playing better than the coach at times.
Yeah.
But coach is there to guide you. Coach is there to give you a very unfiltered, advice, which you can take it or leave it. So
Yeah.
talking to your friend and saying that going and seeking a professional help is not a taboo. Yes, you can keep it under wrap. Don't go and speak it out to everyone, but at least go and speak to the right person. That will help you to recover far more better rather than going to them when it's too late.
Yeah. And also there is no right time. Okay. If you think your friend needs help, okay, don't think about what would the friend think about me and whether I'm the perfect person or whether what will he or she feel if I say that something is wrong and go seek professional advice. No, you need to go and say, because you never know that push is all that they required. Okay, a little push you could accompany them, because it's could be a little scary and overwhelming, to go alone for the first time. So be that good friend. You never know, down the line they may come and thank you for being there for the right time and giving me this advice. And we've seen this. I have got a lot of adolescents coming to me with their friends, and they eventually thank the person who really got them.
So just understand that even the best of the people have broken down.
Yeah.
And you are one of them. So you don't need to worry about what others will think. You have to first think about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all about. This is the only time when you have to be possessively mean about yourself and be very, very self-centric.
Selfish.
Because selfish, yes, is the right
Yeah.
word, because if you can't help yourself, no one else is
one
going to
can.
help it.
Yeah.
And please understand, you would go to a nutritionist or a dietitian, okay, or a gym trainer for that matter, to get professional help for your body.
Yeah.
Okay, in the same way, to keep a healthy mind, there's someone who studied for so long
Exactly.
to give you a third eye perspective and to understand those approaches, and we've really learned those approaches.
Yeah.
We exactly know what to do if a client comes to us. So just seek that professional help. They're not there to be judgmental or anything. And again, you could call it a shrink, you could call it a psychologist, you could call it a counselor, anything, but they're there to help.
Initially, a person will be reluctant enough, but then once a person understands the importance of it after a couple
That's
of
true.
sittings, and believe me, it also matters how the psychologist is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You've
Yes.
got to be a
Yes.
very, very
Yes,
good psychologist.
that is so true.
Psychologists don't end up giving solutions.
Yes,
They
no
show you
advice.
the way of life. You have to choose what is right and wrong for you.
Yes.
That is what the real meaning of a psychologist is.
Thank
Nowadays,
you.
most of the
Yes.
psychologists are trying to be self-help practitioners,
Yeah.
where they think that whatever suggestions or advice they are going
Oh,
to
yes.
Yeah.
give is going to be the final binding.
True.
Yeah.
That's not the way how it works.
We cater to 27 countries across the world. So there are people from all across the world doing online counseling with us, with our psychologists. So everyone needs help. And as he's rightly said, after the first session, okay, then we know that the first session is a make or break. Okay, you have to feel comfortable. The rapport needs to build in the first session. And once they understand where this is going, we are good to go.
In fact, we connect your psychology to our business because we are into therapy industry, and there is no acceptance level for the parents at all. So a child who has formally been diagnosed with autism and ADHD will also, the parents will not come and seek a professional help to a therapy center because they would feel that the society or the world or the people around them are going to stigmatize it.
My final question for this episode, it's a little sensitive, so trigger warning to whoever is listening. It is very common, I'm very sad about it, but adolescents have a lot of the times, very stupidly so, have tried to self-harm and go in that direction, which we know is wrong.
Yes.
What advice would you give them?
It's bad that they think that ending a particular relationship or ending a particular life is going to be the solution to their problems. In fact, anyone who has been thinking of doing a self-harm at any point of time first have to think about their family, especially their parents, their siblings, and their friends. That's the only way how it works. I think if they ever feel that there is even a single person on this earth who is going to love them, who is going to definitely feel void of not having them in their life, a person should never take that step, because that's what a weak person will ever do. Doing self-harm, which has been very sugar coated, but we all know what the right word is. It's not good for anyone.
Yeah.
And if you survive out of it, it's even more worse. So my only suggestion to each one of them, to you, all of you who are listening right now, self-harm is not a solution. In fact, it's the beginning of all the problems that your loved ones are going to face after something goes wrong with you. So never ever think about it. If you want, isolate yourself. Whatever is creating the self this kind of a challenges where you end up thinking on to self-harm, be away from that person, be away from the situation for some time. You would find an answer to your problems.
And so my take, of course, we have a lot of clients and patients who've come with this kind of concerns. Okay, mostly we've seen someone who's had a failed relationship, academically not doing well, could be gadget exposures also. Okay, a lot of gadget exposures, if they're not, the parents have refused to give mobiles. Someone who's been addicted for 16 hours have self-harmed themselves. So yes, there's a lot in the news now, and there are many more. There could be substance abuse also, for that matter, right? And most of these problems, trust me on when I say this, when you look back at this 5 years from now, they will not seem as a problem to you. Okay, none of the problem in your living life is so big, okay, to take any kind of extreme steps. None of them. It could be even if you are bankrupt, and we know celebrities who've gone into bankruptcy. Okay, but none of them have ever taken such extreme steps. Everyone has bounced back, and trust me on this, life gives you a beautiful second chance. Okay, every person deserves to live, and you've got this beautiful life. Embrace it. No problem in this world is so large and big enough that you would want to self-harm or take any extreme step. Every problem will look minute and nothing, like it just does not exist when you look back at it, even 1 year or even sometimes the next day. It doesn't look that big. It really does not look that big. So think about it. None of the problems are that big enough that you should self-harm.
Yes.
Self-harm is a sign of a weak person. That's period. It's a fact, whether someone likes it or not, but that's the fact.
And if someone wants to reach out to you for professional help, how do they reach out to you?
Simple. We everything is on social media. We have our website. There are contact numbers. Just reach out to us, and everything is very it's the information doesn't go out, so they don't have to worry about the privacy or anything. But reaching out is the first step and the boldest step. I think reaching out is 90% work done, 10% is counseling.
So if anyone wants to reach out and seek professional help, we will be mentioning Belief Shaping Therapy's website in the description as well. And you can also find them on Instagram. I would like to thank Dr. Heemanshu and Dr. Manjari for coming up today and for all this knowledge. It was truly very, very helpful, and I'm very grateful that we had this episode today.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Another episode down, and you're one step closer to leveling up your life.
Stay true to yourself and connected with us. We'll see you in the next episode.
We've got your back.